Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Judgment. I'm a kayo main with over 2,000 games on kayo alone, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to flash. You guys have been asking for this video for a long time. I'm going to show you how to flash on kayo in every way that you can and how each flash works, how you should be using each of these flashes so you guys can stop blinding your teammates, start blinding some enemies, and improving as a player overall. There are 6 types of flashes. I know, 6 types. There are 6 different ways you could throw a flash, each of them having a different purpose, each of them being thrown a different way, and I'm going to show you all 6 of those in this video. So if you like kayo content, be sure to like and subscribe so you guys can get more of this kind of stuff. And before we get into the video, let us talk about today's sponsor. What's up guys, Judgment here. Before we get into today's video, we're going to be talking about today's sponsor, Valorant Tracker. If you don't know Valorant Tracker is a real-time in-game stat tracking app that can track your stats to make sure that you're on top of the rest of your competition. Valorant Tracker has a player overview for you that can tell you your best agent, your KD, your headshot percentage, your freaking best weapon, you name it, Valorant Tracker will show it to you. And then the thing that I use it for the most is the detailed history of my match history, which lets me know, hey, Judgment, your headshot percentage sucks this game. Hey, guess what? It's really good this game. If you're trying to get better at the game, it can tell you, hey, maybe you should be a little bit more aware of certain gunfights that you're taking so your KD could go up a little bit. You know, whatever you're struggling with, Valorant Tracker is going to tell you because it's the best stat tracking app around. Valorant Tracker can also pull up this information in a live match as well. And before you get into a game, it can let you know what people you're queuing with, if they're winning a lot, if they're losing a lot, if they're consistent, maybe they're not so consistent. Then you can know, we might win this game. If you guys want to try Valorant Tracker and get better today, make sure you guys go in the link in the description and go ahead and download Valorant Tracker today so you can start rapidly improving. And I hope to see you guys around. Bye bye. So kayo has 6 different ways to throw his flashes, but before we talk about that, we have to talk about how kayo's flash works and what properties the flash itself has. kayo's flash is a momentum based projectile, which means that when we are moving, the projectile will be affected by how we're moving. Now, this doesn't apply to moving left and right. As we can see here, I'm throwing it left, I'm moving to the left and I'm throwing, and it's always going in a straight path, right? I move to the left, I'm throwing, it goes in a straight path. I move to the right, I'm throwing, it stays in a straight path, right? And I stand still, and obviously it's gonna go in a straight path, right? If we move, I guess vertically, I don't know. I would say vertically, forward and backward. What's the plain thing? So if we move on the y-axis, guys, this will actually affect how the flash is thrown. Even if we throw it at the exact same spot every single time, if you are moving forward, it won't get as much height, but it will go further. If we move backward, it'll stall more in the air, but this can be used to our advantage sometime. And then if we stand still, it will always go that medium distance. So forward, I like to refer to it at 3 different distances, basically. You have the furthest flash, where you press forward and it goes as far as it can go. You have the medium flash, which is when you stand still, you don't move and you just throw it. And then you have the shortest flash, or the flash that stalls the most in the air, which is that one. Now, this does not change the flash timer. kayo flash, left click, takes 2 seconds to pop. If I throw it here, 1, 2. kayo flash with right click takes 1 second to activate. 1. Before I get to 2, it pops. 1, 2, 1. Right. Now that we understand how kayo's flash works, another thing I want to establish is lineups. Lineups. It's all over TikTok. It's all over Twitter. It's all over YouTube. Lineups on kayo are not that good. I'm not going to get too in depth with this because this is not what the video is about. I'm going to teach you how to flash, but there are some that are good, that are very beneficial. I do them, but we are talking about kayo in a solo queue environment. How useful can a flash be in a solo queue environment? An example of this is I personally like to throw this flash over on the A bomb site. I will stand right here. On defense side, I will post up right here. You guys can copy this if you want. You go up to this dice box here. You go to here, the corner of the green box, and then you go out 1 tile. Then you go up 1 tile and you post up right here. Crouch, get center as you can with your crosshair. You crouch so you can get more fine adjustments. And then we're going to be aiming right at this corner of this structure, of this mountain sky thing. So we're going to aim right here, center of it, and then you're just going to pop a left click throw without moving. And it's going to pop right about here. which blinds everything A main. Anybody that plays back, anybody that plays, sometimes even people that are hiding behind box, if they're not completely tucked in the box, will get hit by this. Anybody that pushes up, basically they get blind. You get a jet to dash up with it, and then boom, you just got free kills for your jet on A main. So this flash is a good example of a good flash lineup. The way to make this flash as efficient, as effective as possible is by having a good understanding of the game and understanding when enemies are going to be pushing through here, which requires a fundamental level of understanding. A lot of people, and I say that because you have to have a good understanding to read when enemies are going to be doing plays like pushing A, pushing B, pushing tiles, pushing mid, rushing, slow pushing, faking, etc. All of these terms, everything that I've just said, is basic fundamentals of the game. KO flashes lineups can be learned the mid to higher level, where people have somewhat of an idea of what they're doing, where you can read situations like this. Keep in mind that this is also solo queue. You are playing by yourself. You queued up for a ranked game with 4 other random people that will or will not listen to you. Do you understand where I'm coming from? This is why lineups are not exactly the most effective thing when you're trying to climb, because a lot of the time you can't even get your teammates to do what you want them to do. Sure, you might have the best flash lineup that God has seen on this green earth. However, you have to play with 4 other random players that might hate your guts, that might love you to death, that might want to win the game, that might not want to win the game. Do you see where I'm coming from? This is why I say that lineups are not that effective. I got Radiant without doing a single flash lineup. I didn't do one, not a knife lineup, not a flash lineup, not a molly lineup, not a ult lineup, but you get my point. So now that we understand this about lineups, I will say do not do lineups until you have a good base level understanding of the game. As you progressively get better at the game and you improve and you learn to read what enemies will do, you can develop flash lineups that would benefit your team. Very, very good. Very suggested. I do them. There are other people that do them. Professionals do them. But like I said, higher level of play. Professional play is coordinated team play. In a solo queue environment, I do not recommend doing flash lineups unless they are self-made flash lineups, and I only recommend them on defense. I say this because I don't want you to be mid-attack phase going up to a piece of paper when your teammates are all fighting and dying, and here you are trying to Einstein it up, lining up with a pixel on the floor, with a pixel in the sky, and a mismatched pixel there, so you can get a perfect flash. Boom, and it blinded everybody. I don't want you doing that. Okay, but Judgment, I saw you do that in a video on Split, which is, yes, true. I did do that in a defensive post-plant situation. I'm also a YouTuber doing it for content. It's flashy. It looks funny. You know, it gets the clicks. It gets the clicks. What can I say? People see it. They're like, oh my God, what was that? And it's like, well, I literally made that lineup up just for like clicks. Is it optimal? Kind of. It's kind of optimal. Is it in a rank situation? Not so much. It's a very niche situation where it works. Doesn't always work. You know where I'm coming from? So TLDR of lineups, for those of you that skipped to this part of the video. Lineups bad unless very good player. If very good player, then can do lineups, because team play is a factor, and enemies will generally do things a certain way where you can predict this. Lower rank, no, because people don't think, run it down, kill you when you're lining up. Makes sense? Lineup bad. Don't do lineup unless very good player or mid-tier player where you can read what enemies are doing. Hopefully I made that as simple as possible. And I know I'm giving you this baby talk, but I just say that because I get a tremendous amount of comments where people are asking me, are lineups good? Are they required to get Radiant? Are they required to get high elo? They're not required. I'm telling you, they're not required. For those of you that skipped to this part of the video, I said earlier that lineups do not equal skill. Lineups will not make you get a higher rank. Lineups will not do any of this for you. They're not the fountain of youth for Valorant players that want to get Radiant. Does that make sense? So please do not do lineups unless you've met the criteria that I have said. And if you do want to get lineups, there is a guy on TikTok, which I have mentioned before. I think his name is Todo. I'm going to put his picture up here. You can check him out, but I will not be doing lineup content. It is not my style. It is not my thing. I am more of a on the fly KO player that likes to use things based off of how things break down in front of me. I'm more of a reactionary utility type of person is what I like to call it. Less of a pre-set up thing, which is good in a solo queue environment, which is why my playstyle, my aggressive playstyle, but my also supportive playstyle is very good, because in a solo queue environment, you have to be able to micromanage both, where sometimes you're hyper aggressive, sometimes you're hyper defensive, and you have to find your middle ground, which comes with an understanding of the game. So that is how you will get better at KO overall, because then now you're running into people 5-man and you're blinding all of them because you didn't use your flash lineup. You just ran up and flashed the angle because you knew they were going to be there. You got your kills, you clipped it, you put it on Twitter, on TikTok, on whatever you put it on, and you feel good because you didn't do a lineup. And then there are times where you do lineups, and then you helped your teammate get a 4K for his Twitter, and then he goes and posts it. You know what I'm saying? So find the middle ground. Don't get so stuck on lineups, on all this stuff. The Valorant community has a problem, a plague with lineups. Do not fall into the trap of doing lineups. You will only limit yourself as a player and not improve. Please, please, please focus on your fundamentals. Focus on your crosshair placement. Focus on your movement. Focus on your map awareness. Focus on a bunch of different things. Basic fundamentals to get better at the game. Use lineups, use your understanding of the game and your aggressive playstyle or hyper supportive playstyle to enhance your fundamentals. You build your base, your fundamental base, and then you add on top of it your next building block, lineups. Your next building block, hyper aggression, when to be hyper aggressive, when to not be hyper aggressive. Your support, when to be supportive, when to not be supportive. And that is the beauty of playing KO, is that you are the jack of all trades and can do it all. Now that we understand how flashes work, how, when, and why we do lineups and when we shouldn't, we can begin to talking about the 6 different types of flashes. I know I've been taking a long time to talk about this, but now we can begin to talk about the 6 different types of flashes. So the number one, your bread and butter flash, the flash that you will be doing in and out, the common flash that you need to have in your arsenal, that you need to perfect. This flash is one of the hardest. Like, I'm going to put it like a little tier list right here. I'm going to put this one in the A tier difficulty. And the reason it's A tier difficulty is because it's the hardest. It is one of the harder ones to perfect because of how it works. So let's explain how it works. Makes it easier once I explain it, and then we can talk from there. So the regular flash, the bread and butter flash, whatever you want to call it. This is the flash that I use the most 90% of the time. So all you do, very simple, take your flash shot, you're pushing up, here's an angle, and the enemy is right there. Boom, boom, boom. You know that guy's right there. You got to kill him. So the reason that this flash is A tier difficulty is because of this. If we throw this flash too far, it's going to go and it's going to pop right here. And the person that is holding the angle is not going to be blind, because guess what? They were holding like this. And where'd your flash pop? It popped right over there because you suck at it. And that's okay that you suck at it, because we're going to teach you how to get better at it. So take the flash out. And now we're going to practice how far this goes. I can tell you right now that this flash, if I throw it like this, is going to pop right on the corner. Because I know. Judgment, how do you know? I have 2,000 games on KO. Judgment, how do you get so good at flashing? I have 2,000 games on KO. The only way to get better at flashing, the only way to get better at anything in life is to practice. To practice, chat. Chat, if there was a cheat code for you can line it up like this and do this way and you'll get a perfect flash every time, I would tell you. But realistically, guys, the only way to get better at flashing your enemies and understanding certain lines of sight is by practice. Please practice your flashes. Please practice them. And I promise you, I'll give you $1 million if it doesn't work. If by 100 games later you aren't flashing better, then I'll give you $1 million. I'll never give you $1 million, because if you did that 100 times and you truly practice it, then there's no excuse. Practice. You gotta practice, guys. There's no cheat code. You gotta practice to get better at the game. I know, it's crazy. I know. So that is the most common flash. So there are some little tips that I can give you that will help you get better at this. So kayo's flash on right click travels about 5 meters. So boom, we throw it. I'm actually gonna get the timing perfect for you. So we could see it pops about here, right? That seemed about right? Turning it for you guys so you don't get blinded, right? About 5 meters, right? KO left click flash goes 25 meters. So we're gonna throw it like this, probably like right there. We can see that it pops right about here. Perfect, 25 meters. Now we know KO flash goes 25 meters on a left click and goes 5 meters on a right click. This is without being affected by momentum, by the way. Now that we know that, when we are playing KO and we are doing this regular flash and we practice it over and over, right? My only rules for you guys is make sure that when you are practicing it, that you are getting the flash on the angle. You want your flash, you want the bread and butter flash to be on the angle. You do not want it to be further than the angle. You don't want it to be closer than the angle. You want it to be on the angle, because if they're holding it on the angle, they have to be blind. You don't want to not blind them and then get shot in the head and then you're crying that flash sucks, right? Which in my opinion it does. I have died plenty of times to people that are full blinded, but that is different. I actually blinded them. They just pre-fired me. So that is the regular flash. Now that we understand that, let us talk about turning from the flash, because this is also a very important rule. Understand the timing of the flash. You have to understand the timing of the flash. KO flash, we talked about this earlier, pops after 1 second on the right click. KO flash on left click pops after 2 seconds. We can also understand that there is a certain window of time when you can peek with the flash and it will not blind you. So watch this. Flash. Notice how I saw the animation of the flash, but I wasn't blind. Watch. Right? Right? I have mastered that timing to where I know exactly when a flash pops. This is very important for every player to do, because otherwise you will do this. You will flash an angle and then you will blind yourself. And who wants to blind themselves? I know you guys be blinding yourself. You guys be typing in my comments. Judgment, I keep flashing myself. You make it look so easy. I know, man. I know it takes practice, bro. But I promise you, you can get it. Understand this timer so you can get better at it. And then you'll never flash yourself. You'll be blinding the enemies, bro. And you'll be swinging into those angles and you'll be freaking 5 headshots. 5 kills, ace, good job. You blinded them all, you killed them all. Congratulations, I'm so proud of you, my little pupil. So now that we understand that, we must take it to practice. So the best way to practice it is, hey, guess what? The way I just showed you. We throw a flash, turn, throw a flash, dodge it. You could do it on a tight angle like this, right? Don't move your crosshair, just throw it, dodge it, right? Get used to that timing. Really understand what that timing is, that little window that you have, right? And now that we know that, all right, we got the timing down, we got it. Now, I know this happens to you guys because it's happened to me, and if it's happened to me, it sure as hell has happened to you. So, let's say, for example, you're in an Omen smoke, or a Brimstone smoke, or an Astra smoke. You're like, oh, the enemies are on the opposite side of this. This is what happens to you, right? You go in the smoke, you go to flash out of it, boom, and then the smoke faded. The smoke faded, you blinded yourself. You saw them for a split second, but you blinded yourself and now you're dead because the smoke faded. How do we avoid that? Guess what, guys? We gotta practice turning from our own flashes in every single situation, which is why understanding that timing is very important so we can maximize the time to turn around and then the time to turn back. So the window of time is as little as possible. What I mean by that, I kind of explained that bad, so let me show you what I mean. So what I mean by that is we can notice how quick that was, right? It's almost like I never even took my eyes off of it, right? 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 I didn't blind myself. It's a partial blind. This is normal. This is called a partial blind. You see the light, but it doesn't actually blind you. This is a blind. That's blinded. If you did that, you messed up. If you did this, you did it good. Good job. That's a partial blind. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. So now that we understand the timing and we understand to turn from the flash, we can maximize our kill potential because we can get free kills on the enemies that are blind. So, and a bad example would be if we do this. Or maybe we do this. You're walking backwards with it the whole time. You don't want to walk backwards with it the whole time, because if you do, here's what happens, right? You're holding the angle. Boom, you're getting ready to peek this guy. You're like, okay, time to flash, right? You go to flash as you're running up to prep for the angle. You're turned behind. What if this guy, for some reason, was just like, I'm gonna swing. And he's running up to you, and here you are. You're moonwalking into him. He shoots you in the back of the head, and you're dead. That's why you have to understand the timing and when to turn from it so you can maximize your efficiency. So now we can do this. And the whole time I'm holding the angle, right? Holding, turn, boom. Now I'm right back on it. Headshot. That guy's gone. That guy's done, right? Perfect. Congratulations. You now understand everything. Truly, I know I've been kind of stalling on it. Now we understand everything about the basics of the KO Flash, how it works, how to turn from it, you know, etc. I want you guys to always practice turning from the flash. I don't care if you're in a smoke. I don't care if you're blind. I don't care if you're whatever. You need to be throwing that flash, turning from it at the last possible second, and then returning around and then clicking that guy's head because you're better. Now, we're going to talk about the back flash. Now, good friend of mine, OD26, coach, if you guys know him, great guy. He talked about flashing behind you, which is called the back flash. It's a very common flash. You turn behind you, it's impossible to blind yourself, right? Very good.
Of garage, and we kind of just threw it like this. Why do you think this flash is bad? I'm not having to do some.
They have a lot of time to react to it.
Yeah, there we go. So what if instead we were to just go like this? You throw it up and you can throw it behind, and that way you can peek with the flash. So if they decide to turn from the flash, you're essentially gonna f them up, right?
This flash in terms of difficulty is probably gonna go around the C tier difficulty flash. You run up to an angle, you throw the flash behind you, and then you swing. The problem with the back flash is we don't exactly get as much control of where the flash is popping on the angle. Technically, you could perfect it, yes, but why perfect that when you could just perfect the bread and butter flash and do the exact same thing 10 times better? If you are a beginner KO player, casual KO player, go ahead, do the back flash, go crazy with it. Is it gonna reap you much success? It'll probably get you by for the most part. But if you are really trying to be like a KO menace and you're really trying to always blind people, never miss a flash, you know, never die because you always perfect it, then you need to be doing the bread and butter flash. Don't be doing this back flash. It's really bad, especially against good players. When you start doing that, that shit's not gonna slide. It's not gonna slide. Against bad players, it'll probably slide. Against good players, we're not going to progress anywhere. And if you want to climb, you're going to go against better players. So even if you are bronze, why not just practice the regular flash anyway? Because as you climb and you get better, you're going to be facing better people. So why would you stay doing something that's not optimal versus doing the optimal thing? Does that make sense? So I don't recommend the back flash. You can do it if you are a casual player, I guess. But if you really want to get good and take your gameplay to the next level, I highly suggest doing the bread and butter flash over this one. I'll show this to you guys again. Throw the flash behind you, swing the angle, boom, get the kill. No need to worry about flash timer. No need to worry about turning your mouse. No need to worry about any of that. Flash, swing, boom, free kill. This flash can be good in like wide open areas, but a lot of the time flashing on that angle is going to be key. And if you perfect that, like I said, you're never going to not blind a person. Now, the bank flash. This is my flash. I created this. This was actually inspired by XTR's bank flash. If you know, he plays Phoenix, he does the bank flash, or the Korean flash, as some of you might have seen. I used this flash when I was not very good at flashing. So example, I was like you guys where I was throwing my flash too far or too close, or, you know, and I was missing the angle and people were never blind. So I used to bank flash to give myself that edge. So the benefit of the bank flash, it is difficulty, A tier difficulty. Benefit of the bank flash is that if you are not that experienced as I was, is that you can always get it tight on the angle. Now, there is a thing that you have to be aware of. Do you see this right here? Divot in the wall. It will make your flash bounce backwards if you throw it in a weird spot. So make sure you're on a flat surface so it doesn't have that problem, right? Couple things about the bank flash. Bank flash pops faster. Judgment, what do you mean by it pops faster? That's impossible. It's always 1 second. Well, that is true. However, when you master the bread and butter flash, you will naturally always pop it at the last possible second on the angle, right? Now, a bad example of this is if we throw it like this. You see how long that stalls in the air and on the angle? Any enemy that is holding this with decent reactions is going to turn from this, right? When you get better with it, you will be able to throw the flash and it'll pop as it peaks perfectly, right? The bank flash pops faster because the time is ticking down as it's bouncing off the wall and going to peek into the angle. So a couple things you need to know about the bank flash is this is another flash that also requires a lot of practice where you can throw the flash like this, right? Make it on the other side of the wall. See that? Watch that. We'll do that again. See how it's popping right there? Now, the bank flash is difficult because you need to understand angles, right? When you do the bank flash, you limit angles. When you do the bread and butter flash, you don't limit angles. And what I mean by that is, look, we throw a flash like this. We're gonna blind past the wall out. It's gonna pop just behind this wall, and it's gonna blind everything. So technically, this flash will blind everything out here, right? Because where we're standing is where the flash is popping, right? So anything that we can visibly see right now is currently blinded, right? No line of sight on us, right? Now, when we do the bank flash, we cut those angles down because we are bouncing, because we're popping it behind the wall here. We're limiting off, we're cutting off basically everything. You see this right here? Anything that is behind these pings is unflashed. So you have to be aware of that. If we are aware of that, it's very good for catching people that are directly in front or to the right of the angle or to the left. As your difficulty flash, the dribble flash. I've only pulled this off a couple times. I'll try to find some clips and show them up here for you. How it works: you jump, and on the way down, you left click throw. I call it the dribble flash because, well, I mean, look at that thing. That thing is dribbling. Boom. Bink. This flash, honestly, really, guys, don't recommend it. Style points, go crazy. Go crazy with this flash. Style points, go crazy on this flash. But the way I use it the most, honestly, is just as it goes down, I peek the angle, boom, and I get a full blind, right? Now this flash is very difficult because you have to kind of just know like the distance it's going to travel. Like you guys will probably do this and then the flash is going to bounce out like way over here. And like me personally, like I can know like, okay, if I throw it like this, probably like right here, it'll pop like pretty close. Some pop like midway. If I want to get it like right on the angle, I'll probably throw like this. Notice how it pops like right here, right? And that notice that's like a reoccurring trend that I'm telling you guys. You want the flash to be popping like on the angle. You have to have it pop on the angle. You don't want to go too far, too close because of line of sight. Line of sight is very important, guys. Line of sight, if you don't know what it is basically what the enemies can see. What I see right now is my line of sight. If I'm holding this angle, this is my line of sight. If the KO example, right, when we're talking about the bank flash, if the KO did the bank flash right now, it would not pop past this wall unless they threw it really bad. All right. Now we have the fake flash. This is the B tier difficulty. Judgment. How can you fake flash? That is literally impossible. You can't cancel flash timer. What are you talking about? Guys, fake flash, B tier difficulty. Fake flash is pretty simple. It's actually exactly like the dribble flash, but not as much. So fake flash, we throw a bad flash. This flash will probably only affect the mid to higher elos that actually react to flashes. The condition that I like to throw a fake flash is when I know that an enemy is holding my position. They know that I've been flashing a lot. I'm not gonna throw a fake flash on somebody that's fighting me for the first time. I'm gonna throw a fake flash on somebody probably like 6 or 7 rounds in, 5 rounds in a clutch situation where they're really scared and I know that they're scared and I'm gonna make them turn from my flash. Fake flash is actually almost exactly like the dribble flash. Instead of jumping and throwing, because that takes way too much time, we look at the floor, we throw the flash like this, right? And we throw a bad flash on purpose. It's a little weird with this ground here because this ground is very like all over the place. It's not a straight ground, but we throw a bad flash like this, right? Boom. So they could see it and they get the time to react it. When they see the bad flash, guys, they will turn away from it. They will turn from it. And then that's when you swing that and you're like, yo, what up? Boom. I'm going to throw up a visual example right here. This is a clip that I had against Shifter.
I'll try to get one more.
Can you plan?
Yeah. Fuck. 6'2 Neon, 39 KO.
The last flash that I want to talk about is the 6th one. And if you guys are any Counter-Strike players, any of my OGs, I give this one the A tier difficulty. Not the difficulty so much for how it's thrown, but more of the understanding of how to throw it, I guess. Which sounds kind of contradictory, so I guess, yeah, it is how it's thrown is kind of hard. The CS flash is basically just a left click flash. This is the CS flash, I like to call it, because in Counter-Strike, yes, you can right click flash, but it's not as optimal but you can left click flash and you can like wing this kind of stuff. So if you are a CS player, you will have a good understanding of like, you know, this type of flashing. I also wanted to talk quickly. People were like, hey, Judgment, should I be throwing the right click flash ever since the nerf? You know, it's only 0.75 seconds. Isn't that kind of useless? No, it's not useless. It still does the thing. You just can't kill as many people. Stop trying to make left click flash more optimal and taking more time and wasting your time. A lot of timings are in Valorant. You need to be throwing the flash at a specific time. You need to be getting it done. So throw your right click flash, get your kill, get your 1, get your 2, and call it a day. If you can't kill somebody with a right click flash, you need to learn how to aim, brother. You need to learn how to aim. Straight up, you gotta learn how to aim, because I don't know what to tell you, bro. You blinded somebody, you got a whole second to kill them. You need to learn how to aim, bro. Simple as. Simple as. There are situations where the CS flash is very good, and I'll show you a good example right here. Whenever I'm pushing out of A site, a lot of people, they like to do them cringe lineups where they'll be like, I'm gonna stand right here, and I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna throw it like this, and it's gonna blind everything. Look at that. That was so good. But guess what, buddy? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what that does? When you throw a flash like that, you are relying on your teammates to go and push out and go off your flash. Guys, how often are you sitting at the entrance of a bomb site and you go and the enemy smokes it off, and now your team is all choked up right here because there's a smoke? I don't want to push through it. I don't want to push through. And they all sit through. They're not saying that, but nobody wants to push through because guess what? They don't want to die. But guess what? Grow some balls, man. Grow some damn balls. Flash for yourself. Peace out. We got to go. I'm not sitting here. Oh, I got a lineup, guys. I got a lineup. Here's my lineup. All right, we're going to get here. All right, guys, I'm flashing. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, you throw the flash. And then guess what? Boom. You threw the flash, and guess what? You might have got the biggest flash ever. But if nobody's pushing, then why does it matter? That's the problem with solo queue. That's the problem with lineups. That's the problem with all this bull. That's why I'm telling y'all how to be optimal with it. Guess what? If you get smoked off, you go in the smoke, you right click flash out, you go out, boom, and you're sending it, right? If you don't get smoked off and you get the comm, hey, they're heaven. Hey, they're here. This is when you throw this flash, right? I know line of sight, how it works, right? I know how far KO flash travels. I know that the momentum, right? Watch this. Walking forward. Watch. You see how far that went? Walking backwards. Look at that. Oh my god. It's like Judgment told me how the flash works. Dude, go up to this, throw the flash over the wall, and peek. Anybody that's heaven is blind. So that is basically all 6 flashes that you can throw on KO. Now that we understand how to flash, guys, I hope this video has truly helped you. And I need you guys to go and practice, man. Don't just watch this video and then take the cheap way out and start doing the back flash because I told you it was easier and you can get by with it. Don't just get by, bro. Strive to be the best. Strive to be the freaking best KO player ever, bro. KO players, we got to step up, bro. We got to step up to the plate and be some of the most annoying to play against. You know, people want to see a KO lock in and they're gonna be like, man, that's little Judgment right there, bro. That guy's about to destroy this lobby. I need you guys to carry my legacy and freaking go crazy, bro. I need you guys to get that RR. I want to see you in Radiant. I want to see you be the best KO player. So go practice. Go practice. I just told you how to do this. Why are you still here? I'm just kidding. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. But why are you still here? You know, I need you guys to go practice, practice, practice. I hope this guide has really helped you guys out. Please, and if you did enjoy it, go subscribe and go check out my Twitch. I'm live every freaking day. Pretty much. I'm pretty much live every day. Go check out my Twitch. Go subscribe. Go comment if this has helped you. Go share this with your friends that want to get better at KO. And yeah, I really hope this has helped you guys. As I've said already 2-3 times now. Take it easy, guys. Go be the best KO player that you can be. And I hope this has truly helped you. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. Please subscribe. Bye-bye.